Hey, so I'm just going to work through a few thoughts on magic and YouTube and sort of how they fit together. Some people have been commenting on some of my videos, and my goal here isn't like this is what I know is, true for everybody. I think there is truth. I'm just not quite sure where it is right now exactly for this issue because it's sort of a complicated thing to me, and I see several different sides that I like different parts of, and I'm pretty sure where I am is in the correct place, but I'm hoping just to sort of get a conversation going, make a few points, and just hear me out and then give me some feedback on what you're thinking as well. When is it right to put up a card trick tutorial on YouTube? And we're mainly going to be doing card tricks since that's sort of what I deal with in my channel. I'm just going to limit the scope a little bit. So one question I'd like to have you guys answer in the comments is, what do you think a purist is? Is a purist somebody who only has learned magic from their mentor, has only read things in books, doesn't do like video tutorials? Are they somebody who is on Magic Cafe a lot? What defines a purist for you? Are they somebody who thinks they only interact with the magic community and they try not to overlap with the layman at all? So a purist would, somebody who's trying to really limit how much we're teaching, how much teaching falls into the public's hands. So I'm just curious, it would be kind of interesting for me to define that, because I'm not positive that a purist is somebody who is going on to a lot of card trick tutorial videos and commenting. That just doesn't really strike me that way, but I could be wrong. So I just throw that out there. Are there really purists? Are there no purists anymore? So it's just sort of an interesting question to me. I'd like to hear what you guys think. Big point about all magic videos, and this could go for books, but I mean here on YouTube, magic videos have to teach. They can't reveal. And that's my goal with all of my videos. I don't reveal tricks, I want to teach them. How do you tell if a video is revealing or teaching? It's a little number at the bottom of the screen. The bigger that number is, the more it's teaching. The smaller the number is, the more it's revealing. So for example, I was going to teach, let's say the card spring is a trick. Let's say we're calling that a magic trick. And if I was going to reveal it, I'd say what the magician actually does is they press with their fingers and they make the cards bend, and then if they release a little bit with their thumb, you can shoot the cards like that. So that's how it works. See you next video. That would be revealing. If I was going to teach it, like when I learned this trick from the Verts, I got an in-depth, 7-minute tutorial, become an insider with the Verts and get all their free tutorials because they're really, really awesome. They go through all the details of how to get the cards to spring well, and where you place your hands, how much pressure, the sort of practice you're going to want to do, and so on, so you can learn it. And it's a longer video. It only takes a second to reveal things. It takes a lot longer to teach things. And I really do believe that the longer the video is, the more it is a teaching video, the less it is a revealing, this is how magicians do this. It's more, this is how you can do it, and it's probably going to take over 10 minutes to teach, most basic card tricks. So, and here's the thing, if somebody's browsing on YouTube, who's, say, a layperson, they're not going to watch every 15-minute video on how to do a card trick that they see. They're not going to sit through a 2 to 3 minute performance and then watch 10-minute explanation. It doesn't seem highly likely to me. Whereas they'll watch, this is how this top 10 best magic tricks revealed in 5 minutes. Maybe they'll do something more like that. My goal is always for learning and education, and that's a big thing when we're talking about magic in this sort of way. One thing is, it's interesting to me, knowing how other magicians are coming up with these tricks, to think that all these tricks are based on the basics. Somebody had to have made up the basics of card magic. They're just sort of fallen into the public domain. I mean, it's sort of weird what tricks I can teach, because I can teach an ambitious card plot, and nobody really cares just because it's such a common thing. Whereas, Illusionist teaches the ambitious card. That's one of their DVDs. That's a big seller for them, I think. So it's a sort of weird because those things finally get into the public consciousness or the magic community consciousness, and then it's not such a big deal to reveal that sort of thing. So something I just thought was interesting, because all magic is based, somebody had to have come up with these concepts. So I'm sort of working through what things are proper for us to teach or not. That's sort of an interesting factor. But all magic is based on the basics. So if a trick is a new trick, but they're just recycling old basics, is it okay if I make 3 videos that teach all 3 of the basics they're using? Because I mean, some of these tricks, they're like, there's a recent one on Illusionist, and this was the trick. We had somebody say stop, alright, right there, and then he did a control like this, and it was, I mean, it was a one watch to figure it out. And I mean, I'm not a great magician. It was just like, that looked really obvious, and it was just watching the trailer on their site. So, and you know, most of them, it's not like I'm studying these super long. It was just, it was just a couple watches, and like, I think I could do something like that, even if I don't get it exactly right. So, kind of interesting what makes it a basic trick, what makes it a more advanced trick. Something that I'm playing with. Love feedback on that. One thing people have mentioned, copyright infringement, which I'm all about, you know, copywriting, you know, being careful what kind of movies you're watching, and what kind of songs you're listening to. You know, I'm like, don't use Grooveshark, use Spotify. Grooveshark doesn't pay their people. Spotify does, even if it's not a lot. So, things you should think about, but are card tricks copyrighted? Honestly, not too many magic tricks are copyrighted. There's some tricks that are copyright. Take Teller's rose trick with the shadow and rose effect. You should definitely look that up. There's a guy who recreated that trick and was selling it for a lot because not too many people figure it out. It's a pretty good trick. Teller had made a patent for that effect. Now, that's a good trick, but for every new little variation, you know, the under control, I'm thinking like, he's probably not making a patent for that little move, you know? I just don't think it's happening. Something to think about, there's no real copyright infringement going on in any of these videos. I'm pretty confident about that. If you want to look into that more, I've looked at the patent site and tried to find things and haven't. Now those are just some thoughts. My logic going into posting some videos that I've taken down now. Okay, somebody's made a trick. Let's do one that I taught. The anti-control, okay? He's made this trick. Great magician. I don't know how it's done, but I figured out a method that I think works pretty well. He gets the job done, and it looks pretty much like his is. Is it exactly how he did it? I'm not positive. I'm not positive that it is, but I'm pretty confident, being honest. I'm pretty confident, like, that's probably how it works. So then, I'm teaching a trick that I saw the trailer for, watched a few times, and it made sense. I'm going to teach, want to give credit where his credit's due, using his name. Hey, this is my version of this trick by Chris. You should check out, his tutorial of it, because it's definitely going to be superior to mine. There's no real copyrights. There's nothing illegal going on there. You'd be paying, when you got that, for a higher quality production, teaching the trick, maybe better angles, maybe more in depth. So, for a $5 download or whatever. But legally, there wasn't really anything stopping me from teaching them, because there's no copyright on them. I'm not sure this is exactly how they're done. I want to give credit to the creator, saying, hey, go check out his. There's going to be a better quality tutorial for you if you go there. But then I also want to teach tricks that I think are cool. I'm going to point out now a few things that I think I've done wrong, and then apologize for. I'm sorry about these things I want to try to do better. One is, this is referring to some of my older videos, I want to try to be careful not to teach too many tricks that are not like in my skill level. So there's a couple of them that I've taught that were just sort of on the edge for if I was qualified to teach them or not. So that's one thing in the future. I'm going to try to make sure I'm teaching tricks that I've really mastered. Like if I wanted to teach my version of Ricky J's card manipulation, and when I say my version, I mean it's got very significant changes in the mechanics of how I'm doing that trick, even if it looks similar on the surface. So I mean, I feel comfortable teaching that one, even though I really love that trick, and it's one that I've performed for over 100 people, using like with my hands projected on a screen behind me and things like that. So it's something that's like, okay, that's a trick that I've done, I've performed it, I feel very comfortable teaching it. So I'm going to try to make sure to stick to tricks that are within what I can do well. I would like to point out there is a difference between performing a trick right before you teach it, like in the same video, and just putting up a performance video. Some of my performances still haven't been good, just the performance alone, but when I'm teaching it, I want to give you a clear representation of this is what this move is supposed to look like. This is how it's clean doing. Whereas if I was doing like a performance video, it's like, hey, I'm fine with doing something with the camera or whatever to try to get the move to happen. Whereas if it's a performance, then tutorial, I'm going to show every move in your face. Some of them are going to look more obvious, and I'm fine with that because I'm not performing for spectators. I'm performing for magicians there. Some people say you should always perform for spectators, but I think you should perform for your audience. I'm performing this trick to show magicians what it looks like before I explain it to them and teach them so that they can do it. And I want to just do a very clean, hopefully a clean version of what the trick just looks like in its basic mechanics. The other thing I'm going to try to do is stay away from teaching tricks by professional, magicians that they are trying to sell. Especially ones they're trying to sell the tutorial to, especially new releases. So this will probably depend on the trick. If it's something that they're just performing, it seems to me it's not as much of a big deal, but I'm going to try to stay away from teaching things that are newly created and that they're trying to make money on selling. And I've taken down the videos that I've did for a few of those. So, things I'm going to try to improve on the better, please put in the comments some other things that I should probably do better. I'd love to hear back from that. Speaking of comments, I've got a few things I want to point out about the comments that I think will help the discussion. And I say these because I think these are going to help how we learn together about this. One is, be kind. And I'm not just saying be nice for the purpose of being nice, even though I think that's a perfectly good reason. You do enjoy your life more if you're nice to people, I find. But the more kind you are to people, the more cordial you are with still getting your point across, the more you're going to focus on actually learning, and the less you're going to focus on me over you, if that makes sense. If you swear, I don't take it down. I really don't like it. I prefer it if you don't, and usually it seems unnecessary to me. So if you keep that down, name calling down, that'll just help us get to the core of what we're trying to do, which is learn from each other, right? In criticism. Criticism is great. Also, if you don't use emotional arguments, that's going to help as well. Because I don't really want to hear a sob story about how, this video has been ruining magic for hundreds of years to come, and, feel so sorry for me out view hunting, and all these things, and I'm not thinking of any particular comments when I say that. I'm just saying, if you're using an emotional argument, it's not going to do much for me. What I really want to see is, here's what you're doing, here's a fallacy in what you're doing, here's what you should do to correct it. Like a little beautiful syllogism, and I'm going to say, okay, that has some, it's fallacious, or, oh, hey, that's actually correct, that's something I should do differently. So, that's what I think would be really helpful, and if you keep the respect high, keep the arguments really precise and clean, it will help the channel in general to have a better atmosphere. So, those are just some thoughts. Like I said, I don't want to be here to tell you guys, what's right, because it's such an oddly complicated issue, where it's not anything legal. It's more of a respect for magicians and what actually furthers the art. The last thing I'd like to leave you with, beautiful little Wikipedia article on magic and exposure. And they are talking a little bit more about revealing magic tricks on stage, like Magic's Biggest Secrets finally revealed, that whole series. So, They have some interesting points though, and they don't actually do conclusions. They instead list all the arguments for and their counter argument. They list the arguments against and their counter argument. They have it in a little spreadsheet in columns. I thought it was kind of cool to see those, and depending on if you're a little more libertarian or a little more conservative, I think it's helpful to see those all sort of in one place. And the article does need some more citations and things like that if you guys, want to add to it. But I just want to make this video. I'm going to try to push myself to be a little more creative, and I'm thinking it'd be fun to do more videos with real spectators. But the thing is, I really don't enjoy the situation where you're performing for a camera and a spectator. I'd rather be all there for one or the other. Because it just feels awkward for the spectator when there's a camera run to me. But in faith, most of the tricks that I do, I perform a lot at school. I sort of have the reputation as a magician, so I pretty much just do it on a request only. I don't, I just wait for people to ask, and I always have a deck with me. But I've had fun. I've been teaching magic at a juvenile detention center. Did that yesterday. It's really good. So, guys, please comment. Give me some thoughts. Give me some feedback. I just had a few things I wanted to throw out there and see what you think. But thanks so much for watching this. Thanks so much for being interested in this subject. And I think this could be really helpful for me, and I hope it was helpful for you too. So, later. Take care.